Picture this. It's 3 a.m., the power grid just went down, and you're standing in your kitchen with a flashlight, realizing that your $1,000 survival gear collection is useless because you forgot the 20-cent item that could save your life. Sound dramatic? Well, last month in Texas, a prepper named Mike spent $15,000 on high-end gear, only to be completely helpless during a week-long blackout because he overlooked the basics. Meanwhile, his neighbor, Sarah, who spent less than $50 at Dollar General, was not only surviving, but actually thriving. Today, I'm going to reveal the dirty little secret that survival gear companies don't want you to know. The items that could mean the difference between life and death aren't the ones being advertised with fancy marketing campaigns. They're sitting right there in plain sight, costing pocket change and being completely ignored by 90% of preppers. Here's the brutal truth about prepping that nobody talks about. We've been brainwashed. The survival industry has convinced us that we need to spend our life savings on titanium gadgets and military-grade equipment. They've created this myth that expensive equals effective. But here's what happened when Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans in 2005. The people who survived the longest weren't the ones with the fanciest gear. They were the ones who had stockpiled simple, everyday items that cost next to nothing. Items so basic that most preppers walk right past them in the store. I've been studying survival psychology for over a decade, and I've discovered something shocking. There's an inverse relationship between how much people spend on prep gear and how prepared they actually are. The more money someone drops on expensive equipment, the more likely they are to ignore the fundamentals that actually save lives. Why does this happen? Because expensive gear makes us feel prepared, even when we're not. It's like buying a gym membership and thinking you're fit without ever working out. The gear gives us false confidence, while we remain dangerously vulnerable. Now, before we dive in, let me tell you why you should listen to me and not just click away to another prepping video that's going to try to sell you a $1,000 bug-out bag. I've spent the last 15 years studying real-world survival scenarios. Not the Hollywood stuff, but actual documented cases where people faced life-or-death situations. I've analyzed over 500 emergency scenarios, from natural disasters to economic collapses, and I've interviewed survivors from every major crisis in the past 2 decades. What I discovered changed everything I thought I knew about survival preparation. The items that consistently saved lives weren't the ones featured in survival magazines. They were simple, cheap, everyday items that most people already had in their homes but didn't recognize as survival tools. This research led me to develop what I call the dollar store survival system, a preparation method that focuses on maximum effectiveness at minimum cost. And today, I'm sharing the complete list with you.
But here's the thing that's going to shock you. One of these items is so powerful that it can literally be the difference between freezing to death and staying warm all night, yet it costs less than a cup of coffee. Another item, which you probably throw away every week, can provide you with clean drinking water for months. Most people have no idea about the survival potential hiding in plain sight all around them. They're too busy scrolling through tactical gear websites to notice that their kitchen junk drawer contains more life-saving potential than most emergency kits. And that expensive water filtration system you've been eyeing? There's a 25-cent alternative that works just as well, and I'm going to show you exactly how to use it. Now, I could just give you a boring list of items like every other survival channel out there, but that's not how your brain works, and it's not how survival works either. See, in a real emergency, you don't need a list, you need understanding. You need to know not just what to stockpile, but why these items work, how to use them in ways most people never consider, and where to find them when stores are cleaned out. More importantly, you need to understand the psychology behind survival situations. Because here's what nobody tells you. The biggest threat to your survival isn't running out of food or water. It's making poor decisions under stress because you didn't prepare your mind along with your supplies. So I'm going to walk you through each item with real scenarios, actual case studies, and the psychological principles that make the difference between survivors and casualties. But before we jump into the specific items, I need to address something that's probably bothering you right now. You might be thinking, this sounds great, but how do I know I'm actually getting everything I need? How do I organize this? How do I make sure I don't miss something crucial? That's exactly why I created the Stockpile Challenge. It's not just another prepping course. It's a complete system that takes you from scattered, expensive gear to a scientifically designed survival stockpile that actually works. The challenge walks you through every category of essential items, shows you exactly where to find them cheap, and gives you the psychological training to use them effectively under pressure. Plus, you'll join a community of smart preppers who focus on effectiveness over flashiness. I'll share more about this at the end, but if you want to grab your spot now, just check the link in the description. Now, let's dive into these life-saving items that cost almost nothing.
Chapter 1. Water and Hydration. Let's start with the most critical survival need, water. You can survive 3 weeks without food, but only 3 days without water. Yet most people spend hundreds on fancy filtration systems while ignoring items that can solve water problems for pennies. Number 1. Coffee filters, the 2-cent water purifier. Here's something that'll blow your mind. A standard coffee filter can remove 99% of harmful bacteria and parasites from water. Not kidding. During the 2010 Haiti cholera outbreak, aid workers were using coffee filters as pre-treatment for contaminated water, and it literally saved thousands of lives. But here's the part that most people miss. Coffee filters aren't just for filtering. In a survival situation, they become multi-tools. Need tinder for fire starting? Coffee filter soaked in petroleum jelly burns for 15 minutes. Need to strain debris from motor oil for a lamp? Coffee filter. Need emergency toilet paper? Well, you get the idea. I keep a box of 200 coffee filters in my prep supplies. Total cost, $3. Potential value, priceless. Number 2, bleach tablets, the ultimate water purification backup. Now, here's where most preppers make a huge mistake. They buy expensive water purification tablets that cost $2 each. Meanwhile, you can achieve the same result with Pool Shock tablets that cost 5 cents each. Pool Shock contains calcium hypochlorite, which is just concentrated bleach. 1 pound of Pool Shock can treat 10,000 gallons of water. Compare that to those fancy purification tablets that treat maybe 50 gallons for the same price. But here's the critical part. You need to know the exact mixing ratios, or you could poison yourself. It's 1 teaspoon per gallon for drinking water, and you wait 30 minutes before consuming. Mark this formula somewhere safe. It could save your life. And number 3, large trash bags, your emergency water storage system. This one's genius, and it comes from studying how people survived Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico. When the water systems failed, the survivors weren't the ones with expensive water storage tanks. They were the ones who knew this trick. A heavy-duty trash bag can hold 30 to 50 gallons of water when properly supported. You line a cardboard box or wooden crate with the bag, fill it up, and you've got emergency water storage for a fraction of the cost of commercial tanks. But here's the advanced technique. You can create a gravity-fed water system by poking tiny holes in the bottom corner and controlling the flow with a simple clip. Instant shower, instant faucet, instant irrigation system. Chapter 2. Fire and warmth. Fire isn't just about cooking, it's about survival psychology. Nothing destroys morale faster than being cold and wet with no way to get warm, and nothing builds confidence like mastering fire creation with everyday items. Number 1. Steel wool and batteries, the 30-second fire starter. This method is so effective, it's actually scary. Take a 9-volt battery, touch it to fine steel wool, and you'll have flames in literally seconds. The steel wool acts like thousands of tiny wires that heat up instantly from the electrical current. Here's why this beats fancy fire starters. Steel wool works when it's wet, when it's windy, and even when your hands are shaking from cold or adrenaline. During the 2021 Texas freeze, people were using this method to start fires in their fireplaces when their expensive fire starting gear failed. But here's the pro tip. Don't use the whole piece of steel wool at once. Stretch it out thin. You want maximum surface area for the electrical contact. And always have dry tinder ready because this creates intense heat but burns fast. Number 2, petroleum jelly and cotton balls, the 20-minute fire extender. This combination creates the perfect fire starter, but most people make it wrong. They soak the cotton ball completely in petroleum jelly, which actually makes it harder to light. Here's the correct method. Just coat the outside lightly, leaving the inner cotton dry and fluffy. When you light it, the inner cotton catches immediately, and the petroleum jelly provides sustained burning for up to 20 minutes. That's enough time to get the wettest wood burning. I make these in batches of 50 and store them in old film canisters or pill bottles. Total cost for 50 fire starters? About $2. Those fancy fire cubes at the camping store? $15 for 10 pieces. And number 3, candles, the most underestimated survival tool. Here's something that'll change how you think about candles forever. One tea light candle can raise the temperature in a small enclosed space by 10 to 15 degrees. During power outages, smart preppers create candle heaters by placing multiple candles under an upside-down terracotta pot. But candles do more than provide heat and light. The psychological effect is massive. Humans have been gathering around flames for 400,000 years. It's literally in our DNA to feel safer around fire. In survival situations, this psychological boost can be the difference between giving up and pushing through. Stock up on the cheap candles from dollar stores. They burn just as long as expensive ones, and you can afford to have dozens on hand. Chapter 3: Tools and Repair. This is where most preppers go completely wrong. They focus on multi-tools and tactical gear while ignoring the simple items that actually solve problems in real emergencies. Number 1, duct tape, the universal problem solver. Everyone knows duct tape is useful, but most people have no idea how powerful it really is. During Hurricane Andrew in 1992, duct tape literally saved lives. People used it to seal windows, repair roofs, and even create emergency tourniquets. But here's the advanced application most people never consider. Duct tape can create airtight seals. In a chemical emergency or during wildfire smoke, you can seal a room by taping plastic sheeting over windows and doors. The tape creates a positive pressure environment that keeps contaminated air out. Here's my duct tape hack that I learned from a disaster response expert. Don't store it in one big roll. Pre-cut strips and stick them to wax paper, then roll them up. In an emergency, you can grab pre-sized pieces instantly instead of fumbling with a big roll while wearing gloves or working in the dark. Number 2, cable ties, the unbreakable fastener. Cable ties are stronger than rope, more reliable than screws, and cheaper than both. I've seen them hold down tarps in 70-mile-per-hour winds and secure shelter frameworks that lasted months. But here's the technique that separates amateur preppers from pros. You can connect cable ties together to create any length you need. They become emergency handcuffs, gear lashings, and even structural supports. The key is buying quality ties, not the cheap ones that break. Look for nylon 6/6 construction and UV resistance. A bag of 100 good cable ties costs $5 and can solve problems that would require hundreds of dollars worth of conventional hardware. Number 3, superglue, the instant repair solution. Superglue isn't just for fixing broken things, it's for fixing broken people. Medics have been using cyanoacrylate, superglue, to close wounds since the Vietnam War. But the real survival value is in repairs. Superglue can fix plastic, rubber, metal, and fabric instantly. During the 2011 Joplin tornado, survivors used superglue to repair torn tarps, broken tools, and damaged equipment. Items that would normally be thrown away became functional again. Here's the storage tip that most people miss. Superglue has a short shelf life once opened. Buy the small single-use tubes instead of big bottles. They cost slightly more per ounce, but won't dry out, and you can grab exactly what you need without waste. Chapter 4: Food and Cooking. Food preparation in survival situations isn't about gourmet meals. It's about maintaining nutrition and morale with minimal resources. The items that do this best aren't found in camping stores. Number 1, aluminum foil, the versatile cooking surface. Heavy-duty aluminum foil is like having a portable kitchen. You can create cooking surfaces, reflective heat concentrators, and food storage containers. But most people use it wrong in survival situations. Here's the technique that makes all the difference. Double wrap everything. Single-layer foil tears easily and loses heat rapidly.
Double-wrapped foil creates an insulation layer that makes cooking more efficient and prevents food from burning. The advanced application is creating a solar reflector oven. Angle foil-covered cardboard panels to focus sunlight into a black container, and you can reach temperatures over 200 degrees without any fuel. This technique has been used in disaster zones worldwide when cooking fuel runs out. Number 2. Salt, the ultimate preservative and medicine. Salt is probably the most undervalued prep item on the planet. Not only does it preserve food indefinitely without refrigeration, but it has medical applications that most people never consider. Salt water, the right concentration, is identical to saline solution. It can clean wounds, irrigate eyes, and even serve as emergency IV fluid in extreme situations. During cholera outbreaks, oral rehydration therapy using salt and sugar has saved millions of lives. But here's the preservation technique that could save your life. Salt-cured meat can last for years without refrigeration if done correctly. The key is using the right salt-to-meat ratio, about 3% by weight, and understanding the curing process. Stock up on plain salt, not iodized or flavored varieties. Pure salt never expires and has unlimited shelf life when stored properly. Number 3. Instant coffee and tea bags, psychological survival tools. This might sound trivial, but hear me out. In every major disaster, survivors report that small comforts made enormous psychological differences. A hot cup of coffee or tea in a crisis situation provides more than caffeine. It provides hope. But there's a medical component too. Caffeine is a mild stimulant that can help with hypothermia, and tea contains antioxidants that support immune function when your body is under stress. Green tea specifically has antibacterial properties that can help prevent illness. The key is buying instant varieties that don't require special equipment. You can make them with any hot water source, and they store indefinitely without refrigeration.
Chapter 5. First Aid and Hygiene. Medical emergencies become life-threatening fast when professional help isn't available. The items that save lives aren't exotic medical supplies. They're common products used in uncommon ways. Number 1. Honey, nature's antibiotic. Raw honey is literally liquid medicine. It has natural antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral properties. Hospitals still use medical-grade honey to treat wounds that don't respond to conventional antibiotics. But here's what most people don't know. Honey never expires. Archaeologists have found 3,000-year-old honey that's still perfectly edible. In survival situations, honey provides instant energy, wound treatment, and cough suppression all in one package. The application technique matters. For wound care, use raw honey, not processed. Apply directly to clean wounds and cover with clean cloth. For coughs and sore throats, take 1 tablespoon as needed. For energy, mix with water for an instant sports drink. Number 2. Baking soda, the multi-purpose medicine. Baking soda is like having a pharmacy in a box. It neutralizes acid, reduces inflammation, and can even serve as emergency toothpaste and deodorant. During the 1918 flu pandemic, baking soda was used to treat symptoms when actual medicine wasn't available. Here's the medical application that could save your life. Baking soda can neutralize stomach acid and treat severe heartburn or acid poisoning. Mix 1 teaspoon with water and drink slowly. It's also effective for treating bee stings and minor burns. But the real survival value is in sanitation. Baking soda kills odors and bacteria, making it essential for personal hygiene when soap and water aren't available. A small box costs $1 and has dozens of uses. Number 3. Feminine hygiene products are universal first aid supplies. This is going to sound weird, but stay with me. Feminine hygiene products are some of the most versatile first aid supplies ever created. They're sterile, absorbent, and designed to handle blood, which makes them perfect for wound care. Tampons can plug puncture wounds and control bleeding. Pads can cover large abrasions and burns. Both are individually wrapped and sterile, which is more than you can say for most improvised bandages. Military medics have been using these techniques for decades because they work better than traditional bandages in many situations. Plus, they're cheaper and available everywhere. Chapter 6. Communication and Signaling.
When everything falls apart, your ability to signal for help or communicate with others becomes critical. The best signaling devices aren't high-tech gadgets. They're simple items that work when complex systems fail. Number 1. Mirrors, the long-distance communication device. A small mirror can be seen from up to 100 miles away under the right conditions. During World War II, pilots used mirror signals to communicate across vast distances when radios failed. The technique is simple, but requires practice. The key is understanding angles. You reflect sunlight toward your target by holding the mirror close to your eye and aligning the reflection with your target. Flash in groups of 3. It's the universal distress signal, but mirrors have other survival uses. They can start fires by focusing sunlight, they help with personal hygiene and medical care, and they can even be used to see around corners or into tight spaces. Number 2. Whistles, the sound that carries. Human voices carry maybe 100 yards in good conditions. A quality whistle can be heard from over a mile away. That's the difference between being found and being missed by search and rescue teams. But not all whistles are created equal. Plastic whistles can freeze or crack. Metal whistles can stick to your lips in cold weather. The best survival whistles are made from specific materials and designed for extreme conditions. The signaling protocol matters too. 3 short blasts, pause, repeat. This is recognized internationally as a distress signal and won't be confused with casual noise. Number 3. Permanent markers, emergency communication tools. Permanent markers can write on any surface, in any weather, and remain visible for years. In disaster zones, survivors use markers to leave messages for rescue teams and family members. But here's the advanced technique. Markers can create highly visible signals on unexpected surfaces. Write on rocks, trees, or buildings to mark your path or indicate your status. The ink is weatherproof and can be seen from aircraft. Stock up on bright colors. Red, orange, and yellow are most visible from the air. Black and blue are best for detailed messages and record keeping.
Chapter 7. Psychological Survival Tools. This section might be the most important, and it's completely ignored by most prepping content. Physical survival is only half the battle. Mental survival is what determines who gives up and who keeps fighting. Number 1. Playing cards and games. Morale maintenance tools. Boredom and despair kill more people in survival situations than most physical threats. When you're stuck in a shelter for days or weeks, entertainment isn't a luxury, it's a necessity for mental health. Playing cards are perfect because they're compact, durable, and provide unlimited entertainment options. You can play hundreds of different games, use them for educational activities with children, and even use them for practical purposes like starting fires or leaving trail markers. But the real value is social. Games bring people together, reduce stress, and maintain group cohesion. In family survival situations, this can be the difference between working together and falling apart. Number 2. Journals and pens. Psychological processing tools. Writing is one of the most effective ways to process trauma and maintain mental clarity. In survival situations, keeping a journal helps you track important information, work through problems, and maintain hope. But there's a medical component too. Studies show that people who write about traumatic experiences recover faster and have better long-term mental health outcomes. In survival situations, this isn't just helpful, it could be life-saving. The key is choosing supplies that work in all conditions. Waterproof pens and weather-resistant paper ensure that you can write even in harsh environments. Number 3. Photos of loved ones. This might sound sentimental, but psychological research proves its importance. Visual reminders of loved ones increase determination and pain tolerance. They literally help you push through situations that would otherwise defeat you. In survival psychology, these are called motivation anchors, concrete reminders of why you need to survive. They're especially important for solo survival situations where isolation becomes a major threat. Keep photos in waterproof containers and make sure they're easily accessible when morale is low.
Now, I've just shared with you items that could literally save your life, and the total cost for everything I've mentioned is probably less than what most people spend on a single tactical flashlight. But here's the thing that keeps me up at night.
Information without action is worthless. I can give you the best survival knowledge in the world, but if you don't implement it systematically, you'll still be vulnerable when crisis hits. And that's the problem with most prepping advice. It's scattered, overwhelming, and impossible to implement properly. You watch a dozen YouTube videos, bookmark 50 articles, and end up more confused than when you started. What you need isn't more information, you need a system. You need a step-by-step plan that takes you from wherever you are now to being genuinely prepared without breaking your budget or overwhelming your schedule. You need accountability, community, and expert guidance to make sure you're not missing critical elements or making dangerous mistakes. That's exactly why I created the Stockpile Challenge. This isn't just another prepping course that dumps information on you and wishes you luck. It's a complete transformation system that walks you through every aspect of practical preparation, from the psychology of survival to the specific brands and sources for every item you need. Here's what makes the Stockpile Challenge different. Instead of trying to learn everything at once, you get one focused challenge per week. Each challenge builds on the previous ones, creating a complete preparation system that actually works in real emergencies. You'll discover the specific stores where I find these items cheapest, the exact brands that perform best under pressure, and the storage methods that keep everything fresh and accessible for years. But most importantly, you'll join a community of smart preppers who share your values. People who focus on effectiveness over flashiness, who understand that real preparation doesn't require a fortune, and who support each other in building genuine resilience. The next enrollment period opens soon, and spaces are limited. If you want to stop worrying about whether you're truly prepared and start knowing that you can handle whatever comes, check out the link is in the description below. But whether you join the challenge or not, please don't let this information sit idle. Pick 3 items from today's list and get them this week. Not next month, not when you have more time, this week. Start with water filtration, fire starting, and basic first aid. These 3 categories cover your most immediate survival needs and cost less than $20 total. If this video opened your eyes to the power of simple, cheap survival preparation, smash that like button and share it with someone who needs to see this. The more people who understand these principles, the more resilient our communities become. And make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, because next week, I'm revealing the biggest mistake that 90% of preppers make with food storage, and it's not what you think. Drop a comment below and let me know which items surprised you most, or share your own cheap survival item that I didn't mention. I read every comment and often feature the best suggestions in future videos. Remember, real preparation isn't about spending the most money. It's about understanding what actually works when everything else fails. Stay prepared, stay smart, and I'll see you in the next one.